Hello, this is Alex Wingfield, and this is episode 4 of Showreel. This is another update episode to tell you guys what is the current status of my projects, such as From Far Away, the documentary, my post-production film, and for what is to come after university. First thing, I just want to say thank you for all the great feedback we have got for the last episode with Emma and Alex talking about our favourite directors. Next week, for episode 5, I will have my friend Charlie Warren on, and we will be discussing the production of our film From Far Away. Speaking of which, we are now just a matter of days away from filming. We start filming on Thursday the 7th, so we're just sort of down to the wire now. We recently did some new rehearsals with our cast, and it went really well. The guys are so great. We did it in the most professional place possible. We did it in just an empty classroom, just had to push a bunch of chairs out of the way and just went, okay, act. We're doing 4 shoot days in a row, so I'll be going from the 7th to the 10th. Pretty long days as well. Some I think the earliest day we have is from about 8:30 till about 3:30. I think that's the shortest day, and I think the longest one is from 8:30 till about 7. And you know, when it comes to filmmaking, 7 really means 8, maybe even 9. So that should be fun. Right now, Charlie, the producer, and I are doing stuff like gathering the props, speaking to our production designer, Emma, gathering all of the set decorations, stuff like that. Also, just gathering all of the equipment that will be needed, because there is quite a lot. It's a weird experience now, honestly, because this film has been 2 years in the making. That's when this idea sparked in my mind. It was summer 2017. So the fact that not only are we shooting soon, but the fact that we've even got this far is kind of crazy. Just this time last year, this film was very much just an idea, and now it's happening. It's being made. We've got a team, we've got a cast, we've got equipment. It's surreal, honestly. And speaking of making things, my video series, Making a Movie, episode 4, will hopefully be out either at the very end of this month or early next month, and that will also be covering the shooting process, the production process of From Far Away, where you'll get to see loads of behind-the-scenes videos, photos. I'll be incorporating clips from next week's podcast into it. The biggest challenge with making a movie is that I want every episode to feel different from the last, where you can almost see the progression, I guess, skill-wise, that I have attained. So currently, right now, on top of everything else, I'm kind of structuring what the visuals would look like for Making a Movie episode 4, what the visuals would be, just the storytelling, where to put certain shots and dialogue scenes, whether I should do voiceover or just a speaking head almost. But it's fun though. It's a fun challenge. It's a creative challenge, and that's what being a director in anyway. You kind of thrive on. That's what being a director basically is. It's just problem solving, because nothing ever goes right 100% on the set. So you need to think of ways to get around it. That's basically it for From Far Away. I'm super excited. I can't wait. This is essentially the calm before the storm. Now, for the documentary, the next sort of big film that my team and I are working on. It's a different. Well, we got some same members from Far Away, but we've also got quite a lot of new members for this documentary. But they're people that I've worked with before. We begin filming that on the 16th. So less than a week after we wrap From Far Away, we start shooting this new project, and we're going to be filming in my hometown. So should be interesting. Probably have to crash down at my parents' place, have to stick the whole crew in there, which should be fun. We've been getting in contact with other groups and communities, for potential backup ideas instead of this one. But one of the groups that we found and that we definitely want to incorporate into the film is this group that is trying to protect Stonehenge. They don't like the publicity around it. They don't like the fact that it's almost like a tourist attraction. And their leader believes himself to be King Arthur. So immediately we were like, okay, we've got to get this man on camera, because we don't know if this guy actually thinks that he is King Arthur. Maybe he's a reincarnation. And we've emailed out to him, and we're just waiting for a response now. But if we can get this guy on, should be interesting. Should be an interesting thing to watch, and an interesting thing to shoot, most of all, We've also been discussing what equipment to use, because shooting a drama like From Far Away and shooting a documentary like this requires very different, cameras and everything, which I think a lot of people don't really think about when they're not in the filmmaking world. So From Far Away is being shot on a Blackmagic Ursa Mini, and this documentary we've decided we're going to shoot on a Canon 5D Mark III, because it's a really great camera, but it's also a lot lighter, it's a lot smaller, it's handheld. You can do much more run and gun type stuff for when you're doing a documentary. That is critical, really, that you could quickly get the shot without having to get this heavy camera, get this heavy tripod, mount the whole thing up and all that, because the moment could be over. Where if when you got like a 5D, you can quickly whip it out, get a shot, put it back. We also recently did an over-the-phone interview with one of the people that we will be filming on the 16th, and it was really insightful. They were telling us about their interpretation of their belief system of witchcraft, how they were introduced to it, and how they want to sort of express themselves. If they were given the chance to, speak to everyone, because there is definitely, I guess, a stigma against witchcraft, from this guy's point of view at least, and how he lives out this sort of religion. And, if we can get him to say this on camera, and, we can put it in the film, I think it should make for a very sort of eye-opening experience, and it should be interesting to watch. Next, for our post-production film, the currently untitled post-production film, where we have to test out our VFX, we have settled on a story. It is going to be a mixture of the genres of science fiction and post-apocalyptic. The story will focus on a sci-fi bounty hunter, it's set in the future, that is going after a target that lives on a different planet. As the film is so effects heavy, you really have to plan a film like this with the shots in mind. You have to plan with the edit in mind. So a storyboard was made. I kind of just put my head down and bashed the thing out in like 4 hours. And I'm telling you, man, storyboards, even though it's just drawing, it takes so long. It's such hard work. It's very, it's so, having to draw out every single shot of a film. Luckily, this film is quite short, because it's more to showcase your skills with virtual effects rather than tell this big, epic story. Recently, just a couple of days ago, we did a test shoot in like my local park. So we had Charlie, who's going to be the guest on next week. We just had him walking around pretending to fire a pistol, pretending to get a hologram out of his watch and all this kind of thing. We were just doing that in a park because, so that way we've got this big sort of empty environment that you can play around with in After Effects. You can play around with the environment, play around with the atmosphere. It just made for a good sort of location, but we were getting a few weird looks. But this lets the whole group sort of play around, test around, or refresh themselves with their skills with After Effects, because we're all at different levels. Essentially what we have to do, we have to plan the film as a group, shoot the film as a group, but we have to edit it individually. And, of course, people are at different experience and level skills. So I thought, do this test shoot, just a few quick shots, hand it out to everyone so everyone can, get their grips on it before we shoot the real thing, which hopefully that'll be shot by the end of the month, if not very early next month, because like I said, it is a very short film. but I think it is the one that requires the most planning. It's also a film that's very outside of my comfort zone, but there is a real level of excitement because of that, because you really don't know how it's going to play out, because it could go really well and come out just how we have in our heads, or it could look like we've just animated the thing in Microsoft Paint. But we'll see. we will see. The website is also coming along very nicely. I should have that finished in a couple of weeks for everyone to see. Where that will showcase, more of who I am, some of the films that I have made in the past. It would also include a segment just for the podcast as well, and I'm very excited about it. But yeah, that's basically it for this week. That's all of the updates. That's everything that will be coming your way in the next few weeks. So the post-production film and the documentary should be out in April, and the release date from Far Away has yet to be decided, just in case we want to take it to places like festivals first. But, as soon as we have a date, you'll be the first to find out. And okay, if you want more frequent updates, then make sure to follow me on my social media accounts. I am Alex C. Winfield, all one word, all lowercase, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I mean, I don't know why you would want to follow me on LinkedIn, but if you really want to get businessy, then go for it. Next week, we should have a lot of stories to tell, and that's going to be a very, very interesting story. It could be a great story, or we could just be sat here crying because the whole thing went awfully. But I doubt it will. But nevertheless, should make for some interesting listening material. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for listening, and I will speak to you guys next week.